Cool, man. So thanks for doing this.
Hey, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting me. Cause I mean, like we said earlier, I'm just a bass player. They don't let me talk.
Right, yeah, we're the rhythm section, usually stuck in the
Yep.
back of the bus, back of the van, back of the show, back of the stage, whatever.
Driving the ship though.
Yeah, exactly, right. Laying it down, keeping it funky,
Damn straight.
building that pocket that everybody else can play on top of, right? Yeah.
I don't need to be high profile. I mean, it's fun, and there's no one for me to hide behind. So I have to be up front.
Mm.
But that's okay. That's my job, and that's what I'm here for.
Well, cool. So, I mean, I know who you are.
Mhm.
Eddie's actually the one that invited you, by the way.
I know.
Eddie Kreckler gave you a shout out and
I saw that, and I'm like, what a guy. I'm gonna have to buy him a beer next time.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I got into the scene. I didn't get into the scene until Rhino, but I've been playing music for quite a while.
Is that right?
Well,
So Rhino's like the really kind of the big bands that kinda took
big,
you up to
yeah,
another level. Interesting.
superstardom.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, I've always been making noise. I mean, my mom will tell you that I wouldn't shut up as a kid. So I got into choir first, actually.
Is that right?
Really enjoyed singing a lot. So, and that'll come back into play with Rhino, but choir definitely. I wanted to get into playing an instrument in 5th grade. I actually played stand-up bass
Okay.
in orchestra, and then only gave it up because we thought our house was gonna sell, and so I didn't sign up for orchestra in 6th grade, and I
Hmm.
should probably shut that off.
That'd be helpful, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But, yeah, we never sold a house, and so in 7th grade, when I went to junior high and I wanted to sign up for, orchestra again, they said, "You need 2 years of experience, so we can't let you in." I'm like, "You gotta be kidding." No way. So apparently that was that. But then I got into choir, and then I had to audition to get into the mixed choir, and that was the only time I've ever been scared for an audition. I had to sing the
Interesting.
Star Spangled Banner for my choir director, and I was scared to death.
Is that right? But
But
you pulled it off.
I made it. I mean, I made it, and then from then on, it was pops choir, barbershop quartets, all sorts of stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty fascinating, man. You have any old videos of,
I
you doing
wish I
stuff like
did.
that?
I wish I did, but I don't think we ended up with a video camera until much
Mm.
later in life, but
Yeah, I guess video cameras at that time were like these giant,
yeah. Like
bazookas.
no, but no, really, I didn't really start playing an instrument until I was a senior in high school. A bunch of my friends were starting bands. I'm like, well, I got a little bit of money saved up from working on, farms and stuff like that. And so I went down to B Sharp Music in Northeast Minneapolis and bought my first guitar there.
Okay.
And that's my mom grew up in Northeast, so she's like, I know where that is. I'll take you. I'm like, good, because I'm scared to death to drive in Minneapolis. And yeah, I spent like $250. I got a BC Rich, and people, I tell my first guitar was a BC Rich. They're like, no way. I'm like,
Mhm.
well, it wasn't a pointy one or anything like that. It was a Strat style guitar, and learned how to play on that. I really wanted to get into a rock band, and yeah, you just kind of fart around with your friends for a while and learn things and whatever. But um, I didn't get into playing bass until much later. Our bass player at church was sick one day and they needed somebody. So
Mm.
I plugged the bass directly into the board because I was running sound at that time and I was playing and sitting and pushing up faders and
Is that right?
it's been done before. I can't say I did it well, but well enough for them to move me from sound to playing bass normally. And then I played bass at several churches after that, and I even auditioned to get into Eaglebrook at one point,
Hmm.
but that was the telltale sign was not knowing how to run, the in-ear monitor mixer thing.
Mm.
I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing." They're like, "Well, you might be a decent enough player for your church, but we need a little bit." And I totally understand that too, yeah.
Is that right? Eaglebrook is pretty next level of
It was
church
definitely
musicians?
yeah, I mean,
Huh.
some of these guys that played with them, I think at the time, I heard that they would travel around with some of the bigger named regional Christian acts or maybe even national, I don't know, but,
Hmm.
yeah, just me being a play it once a week kinda guy and not have the touring chops. I mean, I know that they only play, what, 4 or 5 songs every Sunday for worship, but they also play to thousands of people.
Mm.
And that's they probably don't want somebody who's never been in front of a bunch of people to do that, and I
Mm.
mean, they're totally right,
Hmm.
gotta represent. And so I knew that I didn't belong, but I tried out anyway because I had friends that were doing it,
Mhm.
but they were that next level and I
Mhm.
wasn't yet. I think I might be close enough there now, but
Right, right, right.
this is 15 years ago, man. This is a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, this is all, shaped, everybody thinks that the musicians that you see that are out there, they're doing the big stuff, kind of
Mhm.
like just stepped right into it and started playing at that
Oh,
level, right? But there's always there's a trajectory to it. But
exactly.
it is, when I saw you playing with Rhino, you're doing big shows, lots of
Mhm.
your grandma's marathon,
Yeah.
thousands of people in the crowd. That
And
seemed to be pretty much exactly how I knew you from the beginning
right.
as Gordy. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. Hey.
When I, um when I auditioned for Rhino, so I had come from the last band I was in based out of St. Cloud. They were 80s band, and,
What were they called?
they're still around. They're called Pandemic,
Okay, yeah, I've heard
and
Pandemic Rocks or whatever?
Pandemic Rock
Yeah, I've heard of them
or
before.
other yeah, I think they played Route 47 a couple of times,
Mm,
and I'm not sure because since they're from the St. Cloud area, I don't know how much into the cities that they get.
okay. They
I
to stay out there out west or
Well,
whatever.
it's a lot easier,
Sure,
and
sure.
plus
Yeah.
I don't know if they have an agent, so I don't know that I don't know that their circle, I
Right.
know that when I played with them, there was the St. Cloud Sartell and then out in the middle of nowhere
Mhm,
areas, and so
mhm.
I ended up getting a cell phone with better coverage just so I could, make sure that my GPS would work to get me home. But then when I got into Rhino, I'm like, "Oh my god, we're playing in Wisconsin and Iowa, so I better get," I heard at the time Verizon had the best plan, and I'm not plugging Verizon, I'm just saying I made the move to Verizon so that because I heard their map was better, and I mean, I haven't gotten lost.
No, that's good, yeah.
But, from Pandemic to Rhino, and I made when my audition, um, they said, "You know what? You're here to audition as a bass player. If you don't know how to play bass, you might as well just leave. We wanna hear you sing." I'm like, "Okay, what do you wanna do?" And we're like, "Well, here's a list. What can you play and sing?" And so we did some Poison, and we just because that's all I had played up until that point was
Mm,
80s rock,
mhm.
all right. So then after I made it through the audition and they said, "Don't tell anybody else because we're still auditioning people." And I said, "Good, because I'm still auditioning with other bands." I did audition for another band and they said, "We'll give you the job today." And I said, "I can't say yes yet." "No way, you auditioned for Rhino, didn't you?" I'm like, "Am I wearing it on my shirt here?" They're like, "No, but we know that they're looking for a guy." And
Mm,
the thing is, the difference between that band and this band is that I'm more the age of the guys that I'm with now,
mm,
and I would have been the band dad in that situation, and
mm.
that not a bad thing,
Yeah.
but I just think that I probably fit better, just at least age-wise, and now, that being said, and our drummer's 35 or whatever right
Yeah.
now, but, at the
At the
time,
time, it was probably an
yeah,
older
Cookie
drummer.
Cookie is about the same age, probably
Sure.
just entering his 50s now, I don't know. I didn't say 50s, did I? But, yeah, and that is one of the things that I really, really like about being at Rhino is that we do take so much care in making sure that our vocals are upfront, and
For sure.
that it's not just one guy singing, we all take turns,
Mhm.
even Eric, and we give him a lot of grief over his ability. But no, he's also the brain behind the whole thing. He started the band
Is that right?
in 2003, I
I
believe.
was gonna ask you how old is the band? 2003, so that's what,
Yeah,
12
23
what, 20, 22 years? 23
23,
years?
something like that, yeah.
Wow.
Yep, and, he's done a great job with it, throughout all the lineup changes, I know that
Mm,
I'm not the first, and hopefully I am the last bass player, but, I
mhm.
don't plan on leaving. We're doing well. I think that 2026 is shaping up to be a great year. I'm
Is that right?
thrilled to hear that we're gonna do another overseas tour, but that's not for me to make that decision, the world's gotta be okay for us to do that too,
Well, talk to me about that experience. That's I mean, the funny thing is that you guys went over to the Middle East, and I used to live in the Middle East,
Shut
actually.
up.
I lived in Qatar for 10 years.
Did you serve?
I did. I served my last year in the Army. I was, stationed in Qatar. I got out, came back as a contractor, worked there on the base for a couple of years, and so all those
So much
USO
for your
bands who
service.
used to come through, I used to get to meet Seven Dust and, George Bush and, just as they come through and, all the different bands that come through, it's kinda cool.
I will say this, up until that point, yes, support the troops and this and that, like, that's just your duty as an American to support your troops, but
Mhm.
ever since going over and seeing them, and we were there between Christmas and New Year's
Mm,
in '22, so
mhm.
we left on it was Kurt's birthday, I remember that, so December 19th, and I had my first beer in, like, 3 months because I wanted to lose a lot of weight for the trip and everything.
Okay.
That was my goal. It was nobody said I had to, but I
Mm,
wanted to, do some working out and eating better, and I'm gonna do it again, but the plan was that was what we're gonna do, and here we are, in the airport, and it's Kurt's birthday. It's like, "Hey, let's have a beer," and then I'm like, something unlocked. I'm like, "Oh, no, here we go." So we had a few beers, and then we fly to Paris, and while everyone else that was our layover for, like, an hour, but
mhm.
everyone else is having their croissants and their coffee, and we're drinking Jack Daniels at the bar, 9 o'clock in the morning, and then, we flew from there to Bahrain, and we played 2 shows in Bahrain, 2 different, bases, and I think there was some Air Force, and there was some Navy,
Mhm.
maybe even some Army, but we were in Bahrain, and then we went to Kuwait and played 3 shows there.
Cool.
And then from there, we had a day off. We flew from Amsterdam to, Jacksonville. We were in Jacksonville for a day,
Mm.
and then we went to, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
Oh, really?
And they only fly in and out on Thursdays and Tuesdays.
Is that right?
So we got there on Thursday, played Friday, and then we had nothing to do until Tuesday. So we just kinda screwed around, but, I mean, we're on base, so we couldn't go to, like, other parts of Cuba,
Sure.
and they basically drove us to the top of a hill and said, "See that over there? That's the prison. This is as close as you're gonna get." And so that was I mean, and that
That's
was
probably a good thing.
absolutely. They don't put the most dangerous people in the world there for nothing.
Right.
So we were, and then one day we did go snorkeling in the Caribbean, and that was fun.
That's cool.
Uh, coming home, it was good to be home, and then as soon as I got home and back to work, it was just out of town,
Mhm.
all the time. So there goes my diet, there goes my exercise, just because I just kind of lost track.
Mm.
So
Well, I think the first time I met you was actually on the treadmill at
yeah, yeah,
in Maple Grove
yeah.
at
You
the,
come walking up to
Planet
me.
Fitness. Is like, "Hey, I think I'm shooting a video for you guys."
What? Who are you? I didn't think I had a Rhino shirt on or anything, but hey, when we did the tour, I got that done.
No, there you go.
So, but
Don't have the Rhino t-shirt, but you do have the
no,
tattoo.
no,
It's
I'm
official.
marked for life. Yeah, yeah. This one will never. I'll never outgrow it.
Cool.
But yeah, and hopefully I never outgrow this band because they keep me on my toes, and it's a lot of fun. Every year we try to ditch a few and throw a few new ones in there. And so, have you seen? When's the last time you saw us?
Well, I haven't seen you guys since I shot the video a couple years ago. Yeah. It's just,
Well, there are a couple new songs. We have rehearsal tomorrow. We're gonna
I think you
try.
guys are at the Lookout soon, right? Or maybe you just played the Lookout
We were
recently.
just there a few weeks ago, but I think we're there again in February.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that.
I kinda the good and bad thing about being a musician who loves to go out and support other local bands is as you get to know more people, now suddenly 7 different bands are playing on the same night, and you're like, "Well, where do I put my time?"
Well, and that's just it too. I like what you said there. Where that I mean, that's a fun problem to have
Mhm.
because there's a lot of talent in this town,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of bands you can go see. And now it's like, okay, how far do I want to drive?
Yeah.
And part of that, you can pick and choose, or you can make plans, or you can bring friends, and somebody can be sober cab or
Mm.
whatever that is. But I try to make it a point whenever like Rhino plays a lot. You know that
Yeah.
we try to play. We try to give ourselves one weekend off a month.
Okay.
So I mean that's 6 to 8 shows a month.
That's a lot, yeah.
It is a lot for
Yeah.
guys that have jobs.
Right.
We're
Right.
not hairball, we can't just but anyway, what I'm saying is
Not yet.
not yet, no. I mean, if it hasn't happened in 22 years, I don't know if it's gonna happen, but unless somebody wins the lottery and wants to sponsor us, that'd be great. No, when we have that weekend off, it's like, "Well, what do you wanna do?" And I live 10 minutes or 15 minutes from the Lookout, so
Mm.
I'll go see bands, and my good friends in Unicorn have played there on a couple of those nights.
Mhm.
Like, "What are you doing here?" "Well, I have a night off. I wanna support the scene. I wanna see my friends in Unicorn." I've seen Weekend Rockstar, I've seen, a bunch of other bands, and that way, when people find out you have a weekend off, they're like, "Hey, I wonder if I could ask that guy to sub for me if I ever need a night off." Last year, I subbed for 5 different bands on.
Did you?
Yeah,
Okay, I know Menace was one of them. You talked
Menace
to me
was
about
one of
who
them.
were the other 4?
I just subbed for, Mojo Monks. It
Okay.
was right before New Year's.
I think I've seen them once.
They're looking for a bass player.
Are they?
Yeah, they can't have me though, I'm sorry. I'm kinda busy. The right there the night before pandemic that I just mentioned,
Okay.
their bass player called them at, like, 4 o'clock in the afternoon saying, "I can't play tonight."
Oh, man.
And so the first thing they did is they got on the phone and said, "Hey, Gordy, what are you doing tonight?" Well, I was gonna go upstairs and play a little bass. He says, "Why don't you come up to St. Cloud and play a little bass?" Okay. So, I helped out my friends there, and I already knew probably about 70% of the
That's
music.
good. Yeah,
Right.
having been in the band, you probably remember
Uh,
the set list already.
yeah, it was just technical difficulties that bummed me out that night because my in-ears weren't working right, and
Mm,
that's the one thing about being a musician, the music will always be, fun and challenging, whatever, but boy, if that gear doesn't piss you off
yeah.
sometimes, oh my god. So there was that, and then I made friends from the jam, Sarah from, Revved Up.
Yeah.
She called me, and it was like this time last year, January, and
Mm.
her bass player needed a night off for family reasons, and I said, "How much time do I get?" She goes, "Tomorrow." So she sent me the set list, and I learned it all, and we had a good time at the Max Bar.
One.
Then well, it wasn't really a fill-in, but she's got another project called All In, which is some people from Revved Up and then some other people, and
Okay.
she's like, "We need a bass player for this date. You wanna play Allianz Field?" I said, "That would be great." So, we went and did that for a private event, and that was a lot of fun, so
Nice.
I think that's 5, 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's
5.
5. Yeah,
No,
cool.
I'm a bass player, I can't count.
Yeah, so my wife used to be in Revved Up,
Oh,
actually.
really?
Yeah, she was the Phil I don't know if you remember seeing the little Filipino lady used to sing with him for
Mm,
a while, so yeah, it was a couple years ago anyway.
okay.
Yeah.
No, I think, I tell you I was part of the house band at the Ziggy's Jam for a while?
Yeah, that's actually, believe it or not, that's how I found out about the Ziggy's Jam because I think it was shortly after I had filmed the video for Rhino.
Mhm.
You and I had become friends on Facebook. I was
Yep.
following along, and then I saw this thing going on at Ziggy's, and
Mm.
I actually messaged you like, "Hey, what's this all about?"
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you messaged me back and said, "Actually, I'm stepping back." It was like just the time that you decided not to
Yeah,
be a part of it anymore. Moga, I think, was gonna fill in for you,
yeah. It's
but you
sad
told me
because
about it,
I
and I think
really liked the whole experience.
it's fun.
It's
Yeah.
just that my job kept on taking me out of town, and at the time, they were only doing every other week, and
Mm,
so I was able to do, "Hey, I can take this week and work out of town, and then this week and work out of town and still be able to do the jam," but then, I don't know, it just ended up being less work in town and more work out of town. I worked in
mm.
Kansas City and Chicago a lot, and,
What do you do?
I'm an AV installer, so
Okay.
well, that's our primary focus.
Mm,
So we do a lot of like conference rooms and boardrooms and that kind of thing.
mhm,
We'll hang a TV on the wall and then do all the interconnect to the conference room table and that kind of stuff with the sound masking and paging and data jobs and all, it falls under the low voltage umbrella. So
mhm.
that is my bread and butter job. Um and then they're also, since we're such a small shop, we're pretty flexible in letting me have a week and a half off to go to the Middle East and play for the troops, or whatever, and they're music fans too. I've bumped into them at concerts before. I was just up at Mammoth right around Thanksgiving, and I ran into the boss's son up there. So, I mean, they're like, "Man, how come you guys don't have gigs like this?" It's like, "Well, because that's Eddie Van Halen's son, and I have not." So, I mean, it's cool, it's cool to have that support from the people I work with, and sometimes I
Absolutely.
think they wish that I would just shut up and work instead of talking about my rock star alter ego, but, no, it's a lot of fun, and, just knowing that I have a safe place at work instead of being penalized for having to
Sure.
take time off,
I mean,
they're
that's
flex
every musician's dream, right?
Yeah,
Have a
I'm
job that you can do, you do it well, get paid well, get respected well, but at the same time have the flexibility to say, "Hey, I wanna do this little thing," and they support you in it, so
that is definitely a huge benefit, so I appreciate that a lot, and I let them know every time I get a chance, so
Well, I've seen, in your feed also, sometimes when you're on the road, it looks like you've got a computer open and you're
Yeah.
kinda are you the one building the tracks for
No.
Rhino? Okay, so what are you doing there?
So I'm practicing my bass actually. So I've got a little Focusrite in out, and I use Pro Tools as my DAW as so that I can just I learn everything by ear, and if I have a hard time, then I'll look it up on Songster. There's an app called Songster that kind of
Mhm,
helps. But a lot of it lately has been my super secret side project. That's not super secret, really.
mm.
We're doing a tribute to Breaking Benjamin.
Oh,
We're called Faking Benjamin.
Faking Benjamin, that's
Mhm.
cool.
Yep, we've actually the guitar one of the guitar players from Pandemic and I 5 years or more ago, we were just talking like, "Hey, man, if you ever, like, need something to do, to scratch an itch, we should do a Chevelle tribute or a Breaking Benjamin tribute," and he looks at me, he's like, "Dude, Breaking Benjamin, I'm in."
That's cool.
And then and so, I don't know what it was, a couple months ago, he texts me, sends me a picture of a couple different bases. "What do you think of these?" I said, "What for?" He says, "Well, I don't know, I'm thinking about maybe doing something on the side, just to do something for fun." I said, "Well, whatever happened to our idea about Breaking Benjamin?" He's like, "Dude, okay." And then that day, he went and ordered himself a baritone guitar. I'm like, "All right, I guess we're in this then."
Nice.
And so, that was a few months ago, and we were just kinda talking about who could we get? Who do we need? We need a drummer, and we need another guitar player, and we need a singer.
Yeah.
And so he knows, a couple dudes, and so, the guitar player and the drummer were his, additions, and they're both friends of his from other bands and stuff like that, and so I went and asked a couple people. I didn't get super serious, and I didn't wanna, like, announce, "Hey, we're doing this," 'cause,
Mhm,
you know, 3 of us are in bands that keep us busy, so
mhm,
it's not like we're gonna be playing every weekend, you know what I
mhm,
mean? Maybe a couple times a year. And so I asked my buddy Tim that sings for the band Tripwire,
hmm.
from Fargo, and, I said, "Do you know anybody that would be interested in singing or playing guitar in a Breaking Benjamin tribute?" And within a minute, he sent me a picture of himself wearing a Breaking Benjamin hat,
That's cool. Big
and
fan as well then, huh?
And it turns out that we live in the same neighborhood. I had no idea.
Oh, really?
I met him at Sturgis in 23, 24.
Wow.
Met him at Sturgis, and they know of Rhino, and we know of Tripwire, but we've
Right.
never seen each other.
Yeah.
And we're similar in a lot of ways, but they're 15, 20 years younger than we are, so
Mm.
they still have flexibility and can do crazy things, and we shy away from that kinda stuff. But anyway, he said, "Yeah, I live in the guys are based out of Fargo, but I live in the cities. Really, we're in the cities. It'd be kinda cool to hang out." "Oh, I live in Maple Grove." Like, "Shut up. I live in Maple Grove." "Where?" And he says, "Well, there's a Hy-Vee." I'm like, "I live by that Hy-Vee." We've actually gone to that Hy-Vee and had a couple drinks before because they have a full bar there.
Yeah. I shop there almost daily as well, so
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's,
funny.
it's good time, and I think we shut the bar at the at the grocery store. We're going to the grocery store. We're gonna get drunk.
Well, that's one of the greatest things really about, I think the jam for me is what kinda opened up, this local community, but
Mhm.
once you get to start to know people and
Yep.
figure out that people know people, live on the same street, and,
Yep.
have similar interests
Exactly.
and wanna start a tribute band for Breaking Benjamin,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah,
just it's a
exactly.
really nice, community of musicians and people, so
It's been a lot of fun seeing people that I've met from playing at the jam at Rhino shows. And they're like, "Oh my god, I didn't know." I'm like, "Well, I mean, I was at the jam, but that was just kind of a." When John asked me, "Would you be interested?" I'm like, "I would love to get out there and support the community and meet new people." And I got the opportunity to play with, I think it was Chris Westfall
mm,
from Metallica.
mhm.
He came up and we did, Fuel and Sandman.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I swear to God, I feel like I'm on stage with James Hetfield." It was the
Yeah.
coolest moment ever, you know? And, it's just so many talented people. And then mixed in with that, so many people that are new to performing.
Mhm.
And I love the idea of being able to take because how many times do you get people walking up to you guys while your band is on stage going, "Can I come up and do a song? Can I play a song?" It's like, "This isn't the place to do that, pal." But You can go to Ziggy's, you can go to Route 47. I know there are other jams out there that
Yeah.
I haven't been to, but there are those opportunities, and they're great opportunities.
Mhm.
You know, it's not like, oh, somebody's just got a mic with a speaker on a stick and you're singing karaoke or anything like that. That's not that.
Yep.
You get the live band experience. You get the whole fear of God walking up stage. You know,
Yeah.
this is my first time ever singing this song.
Mm.
I sing Taylor Swift in front of thousands of people, you know,
Do you
and
really?
yep,
Which tune?
you belong with me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I mean, we drop it a little bit, but nothing crazy, but still, you know, when you're able to turn your mic off and let the crowd sing, that is an experience, right?
Mm.
And and it is a lot of fun, but for the people that are out here wanting to get up here, there's that fear that I know that the jam has empowered a lot of
Mhm.
people.
Mhm.
You know, like Eddie was saying about Rufus and April,
Yeah.
and their band,
Yep.
Hero Parents. I remember when Rufus never it was his first time on stage
Yeah.
at the Ziggy's Jam,
Yep.
and he was scared to death, but he got down off of there, he's like, "Dude, that felt so cool."
Such a good such
I
a high.
remember that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And I guess April showed up a couple jams later because she had never been on stage
right,
either, and
right.
they went from there to say, "Hey, let's start a band together," and
I remember Rufus actually asking me if I had any bass amps that I could sell him. I'm like, "I wish I did, but all my stuff is, like, too heavy for you guys to carry." But, no, it was, just seeing the growth in some of these people that were like Eddie was saying, you know, with the rock camp stuff, you know? I
Mhm.
mean, going from never playing with another person, and that's something else too, you know, the band dynamic, being able to it's you could have the best timing in the world, but if you can't, like, gel with someone else,
Mhm.
you know? I always make it a point to gel with the drummer, you know? And that's the one thing if I'm playing at a church, I'm always looking at your feet. You know, I wanna make sure that my bass and your kick drum are married, you know, and
Mhm.
that's that's the way it should be.
Mm.
You know, you shouldn't have 4 people, you should have 1 group or
Mm.
4, 5, 7, who cares?
Yeah.
You know? But you get the point, you know?
Yeah. Cohesive unit.
Mhm. 'Cause that's our job, to be that glue, you know? And that's what I strive for. And then add to that choreography and banter and being entertaining. My favorite is when if somebody's gonna pay me a compliment, you know, instead of saying, "You're so good," I mean, I could hear that all day, right? But when somebody says, "Dude, you are so entertaining," I mean, my heart just melts. I
Mm.
just love that stuff
Mm.
because that's the goal. That's what I wanna
Right.
do. I mean, I feel bad because right now my voice is gone, but then again, we played at, the North Star down in Rochester on Friday, and then, Ziggy's in Stillwater on Saturday, and I already wasn't feeling that great, and then I just overdid it vocally, and so
Mm.
I'd love to say it's because I'm sick, but I'm not gonna admit
Partially
that.
because you're sick.
Well, it's freaking winter time, man, it
Yeah.
kills the voice. I love singing in the summer, and I just wish I could keep that humidity, and then my drummer is gonna say, "Use a humidifier." Of course. If I could just have one wrapped around my like a feed bag, yeah, sure. I'll keep drinking water. What the
Like a feed bag and
yeah.
just get an IV drip and just kinda pull it around with you everywhere you.
I've been thinking about you've heard of those IV hydration stations or whatever? You go to the doctor and they
Mhm.
hook you up. I don't think that would be a bad idea. Now, if I didn't have to pay a couple $100 for it or whatever the price is, whatever the going rate is.
Mhm.
But, I know that I don't hydrate enough, and that is my biggest downfall, is I sabotage myself.
Yeah.
Diet sodas,
Don't we all, huh?
we all have our vices. Mine is Diet Mountain Dew.
Mm, is that right?
There's a bottle sitting right over there.
Is that right? Very good.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So what's, uh, the drum thing in Rhino? How long has that been a part of your show, and who came up with it? Were you in the band when that was created, or
No,
was that a pre.
no, from what Eric told me, that was from day 1.
Really?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
a thing from the beginning,
Mm,
and I don't know and the funny thing is when I auditioned for Rhino, I had never heard of them.
mm,
So, you know, being in that little bubble before I got into playing in cover bands, I mean, I was happily married and, you know, played at church and stuff like that. I didn't go to bars. And
mhm,
so Um, so when I got into Rhino and they're like, I said, "Isn't there some sort of a drum thing you guys do?" And they said, "Ah, don't worry about that. We'll show you that later." I just had to make it through the first gig. My first rehearsal was a bomb. I was so ashamed. I thought they were gonna fire me on my after my first rehearsal because I had the song list, but I learned them like the MP3, like the radio.
Mm,
We don't do that. We make everything our own, almost
mm.
everything our own. And so Eric gave me a link to somebody who had taken video of us playing at the state fair. And so he said, "Watch this video and learn all the songs like that."
Hmm.
Well, of course I didn't because, well, that can't the quality's gotta suck. Well, it wasn't so much about the quality, it was about the arrangements.
Mm.
And so I show up and my first rehearsal, I'm sitting there playing and I'm screwing things up, and he's like, Did you do what I told you to do?" "No." "Go home and do it again." I felt like the kid that got caught stealing or something like that, just
At least they had you back, right? And then
well, yeah, I mean,
it's been a
look at
few
me now,
years since then,
eight and
so
a half years since
mm.
then, so, yeah, I think I'm doing okay now.
Now you've kinda got the arrangements down, I suppose.
Oh, yeah, yeah, but, the drum thing, we have gone through many iterations of it. Like,
Mm,
when I first joined the band, they gave me a bass drum and a tom to carry around to all the shows, and depending on the size of the stage, we would have a bass drum on each side of the stage
mm.
on some stands, some, like, tom rack, whatever, rack legs, and big mallets, and like in, the Hawaiian,
Right.
whatever, luau kinda stuff. And, then the 4 toms, well, actually 5 toms, and it's spelled out Rhino. I have one of the I think I have the H drum in my living room.
Is that right?
Yeah, so, those were all just crummy old, $100 floor toms off a Craigslist or whatever,
Mhm.
and we would beat the crap out of 'em. Didn't even we never tuned them.
Really?
The heads could have been pitted, they were terrible,
Mm,
but it was just for the effect,
right.
you know?
It's about the show, yeah.
And then, Cookie was still in the band. We got some Latin percussion ones that look like beer kegs, which is probably what you remember seeing.
Mhm.
And, it was 4 toms, and then there was, like, a snare that looked like a garbage can lid,
Mm,
and then it was, like, the head, and then there was some junk inside it, like a shaker kinda thing.
mm.
Big old salt or pepper grains or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, it was goofy and it was funny, but then we kinda got rid of the snare for a while, and then it was just 4 of the toms, and then before you know it, I mean, they're bent. When Tommy was still in the band, I think he got mad once and kicked his across the stage, and so mine had a giant dent in it. It was bad. But, now this past summer, we went with their pearl acrylic clear, and we put some LEDs in them,
Hmm.
and they're pretty slick looking.
Nice.
Um, and Adam is such the professional
Mm.
that he tunes them before every show, and he's got dampeners on them, and he's got little lug locks on them so that they don't
Mm.
come loose, and before you know it, we're buying new bags of lug locks because we keep losing them, and nobody ever pays attention to looking for them on the floor or whatever, but I mean, I think we dropped like 2 grand on those things, man.
Mm,
And we were looking at getting them frosted, but everybody that Eric had talked to, I mean, in order to frost them, you gotta sand them.
mm,
You can't screw that up.
mm.
So if you get swirls in them or if they don't look the same, like, you know what, just screw it. We get the LEDs, I think, cost like 5-10 bucks a piece on Amazon, so we're good.
Mm.
They look fine. Everybody loves the drum thing, and I think we switched from doing 3 60-minute sets to 2 90-minute sets.
Mm.
Same amount of music, just less break
Yeah.
time, which gets people to stick around for drums, and then if our break is short enough, they stick around all night, and that has been amazing on
Is that right?
because typically, we would do drums at the end of second set if we were doing 3, and after drums, we take our break and everybody's gone, so we're
Mm.
playing an hour for nothing.
Mhm.
And so this way, yeah, people wanna stick around, and I don't know, I think we've gotten to the point where we can almost look ahead And I mean, you know how you have your set list and you always look at the next song before this one's done.
Mhm.
Unless somebody has to call an audible and we have to figure something out. But 9 times out of 10, we're always looking ahead. We're always and it's like I don't think we ever have a dead spot. If we do need usually me because I'm up here. My vocal range is the top.
Hmm.
I'm the girl of the band. And so I have all this high, my voice gets kind of taxed, especially in this dry weather, and I'm drinking all the water I can, but I'll bring up 4 or 5 glasses of water or bottles or whatever, and 2 of them be gone before first set's over.
Mm.
And the only time I get a chance to actually pick it up is when Kurt's over there BSing, I'm like, "Oh god," you know, drink a whole bottle. You might have seen me at grandma's. I drank a whole bottle and just threw the empty off the stage. That's why if you go to a Rhino show, stay away from this side of the stage because things are gonna fly.
Well, awesome, man. I always like to wrap these up. First of all, saying thanks. Thanks for taking the time to come out and
Thank you for the invitation.
yeah,
I really, like I said, whenever I get the chance, I go out and represent, and not so much to represent Rhino. I want to go out there and I want to support my family, my music family out in the scene.
right.
That's why I wore my Menace shirt today because those guys are my buds, and not looking for more work, but just so that, you know, people's names are gonna pop up
Mhm.
and it's gonna make people think, "Hey, maybe I should go check them out."
Mhm.
My next weekend off is not this weekend, but next weekend. And so Friday, I'm planning on going to see Queen of the Reich and Metallica
Oh,
over at
nice.
Bogart's.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, I heard Pesky Kids was over at the Doghouse, and they're good friends of ours too. So
Nice.
it's gonna be a loud music weekend, I hope.
Awesome.
If I lose my hearing, I think I've done my job right.
Well, I like to wrap these up and say, who would you recommend?
Who would I
Who should be next on this show?
Well, I think my buddy Ben Kervin or the singer Henry. I mean any of the guys from the band Unicorn.
Okay.
But I go back with Ben, boy, how long ago? We were in a band called I Die Daily together. And actually Ben wanted to play guitar. He's a great bass player.
Mhm.
And he can play funk with the best of them. And I love everything he does.
Mhm.
Not to kiss his butt too much, but he wanted to play guitar in this band, and so they asked me if I would come in and play bass because they heard that I was a bass player. And I'm like, "All right, cool." Well, the drummer is like, "Yeah, it just doesn't feel the same. I want Ben back on bass." And I'm like, "You know what? You guys have a history. You guys are tight, knit unit." And they said, "Well, you play guitar, right? Why don't you step in and play guitar with us?" And so we did that, and turns out somebody knew somebody, and over in the dollar bin, when you first walk into Target, they always have like repackaged computer games on
Okay.
CD-ROM or whatever.
Sure.
Well, the company that did that decided that they wanted to get into the music business. And so they had like 12 different genres of music. And they wanted, they picked 12 bands, and somehow I Die Daily got picked. And
Hmm.
so we re-recorded some songs. We put a couple other songs, and from what I heard, we sold seemed like a lot, like 50,000 copies or something like that. Yeah, and so the money just went back into the making of the recording and stuff, but it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot about, the recording process, and, I made some good friends in that band, so I would recommend Ben, for sure. And, maybe a couple of guys from the band, but Henry, he's a Spitfire. He's the young guy in the band and he's their lead singer. So he's
Mm.
the one wearing the biker shorts and the sparkly outfits and stuff like that. And everybody else. If you haven't seen Unicorn, I highly recommend
I
it.
don't think I've seen them. I think we almost went to see them once. I don't know what happened,
Well,
but
get
yeah.
your ass out to a show.
Okay.
They would appreciate it. And, I just love that band so much. I could go watch them every night if I had the time.
Cool.
And I don't know if you talked to anybody in, Sugar Buzz or I haven't.
Beth was already here.
Beth was already
Yeah,
here,
Beth was a
okay.
guest already.
I haven't had the chance to see her band yet. Well, how many of them is she in?
I think she's in about 5 different
Yeah,
projects right
right.
now.
So
The Megabeth thing just played this past week.
Sugar Buzz, all that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
I do wanna see, well, Queen of the Reich,
Queen of
'cause
the Reich.
I am a Eddie Jackson fan. I am a big fan of Queensryche, so I would love to
Nice.
see that group because I hear Moga's the guy on that in that band, the bass player in that band. So
Mhm.
love you, Moga. Has he been here yet?
He is on the schedule.
Aha.
I don't remember which day he's coming. He might be coming today. I got 2 other people coming today.
Oh,
I
really?
don't remember if he's on today.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I think I just need to get out and go to places that I haven't been and see people that I haven't seen. I might know them, but I haven't seen them do their thing.
Yeah.
The thing that they're most proud of.
Sure.
And so that's where you really get to meet somebody is when you see them doing their passion,
Right.
experiencing their passion.
Right.
And so I'm super excited for next Friday and next Saturday, but pesky's pesky. You know them.
Well, awesome. Thanks a lot for coming.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you again for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Pack it up, pack it in, let me begin. That's a sin. I can't even get down, so get up and see, jump around.